Hey guys, Mark here. I hope you're doing well. In today's video, I wanted to cover snaking. Snaking is a technique of reinforcing a rope whipping. It reinforces both the security of a whipping as well as its look. So, a snaking is both decorative as well as practical. Now, there are several ways of doing a snaking, and there are several methods as well as concepts behind it. So this video is dedicated to explaining snakings the best I can. Let's take a look at a few snakings, then tie a few of our own. Here you can see a simple example of a snaking. It basically runs from one side of the whipping to the other, and then back to the other side, and so on. This snake-like pattern basically pulls the strands of the whipping together. As such, it adds to the security as well as the look. Now, several different authors have different opinions on the snakings. Some say these are only useful in larger diameter ropes. In my opinion, these make whippings more secure in any size of a whipping. So even smaller sizes of a whipping do benefit from snaking. Larger diameter ropes have the snaking more pronounced, which also makes it a lot more decorative. We know many styles for snakings, and they usually rely on some sort of a hitch. Here I have a regular snaking, a half-hitched version, a cow-hitch version, and you have many more. Now here it is a bit hard to see since the rope that I'm using is of a small diameter. So let me bring each of these up closer. So this is the regular snaking. This is a half-hitch version. And then we also have a cow-hitch version. As mentioned, there are many more styles, and you're mostly limited by your imagination. Before I move on and demonstrate how to do various snakings, let me cover a few basics first. Each snaking will begin with a whipping. Two commonly used whippings for snaking are the common whipping and the sailor's whipping. I have demonstrated both on my channel. To start your snaking, you're usually going to take a needle. The needle needs to fit your thread, cordage, or twine. One way of starting a snaking is to attach your needle onto one of the ends used for the whipping. After attaching a needle onto one of the ends, you can start your snaking. The second way of starting a snaking is to make your whipping using one piece of cordage, thread or twine, and then use a second piece for the snaking. This second piece of thread is going to have an overhand knot in order to anchor it into the rope. The other end is attached onto a needle. After you have this set up, you can begin your snaking. Now, to do the simplest of the snakings, I have a simple common whipping here. I have attached a needle onto a piece of thread and tied an overhand knot onto the other end of my thread. I'm now going to start my snaking. First off, I'm going to run my thread through the rope like this. It's going to stop at the overhand knot. Now I'm going to pass over the whipping, and on the other side I'm going to go under one of the wraparounds, this time the leftmost of the wraparounds. Like this. I then travel to the right side and again travel under one of the wraparounds. Like this. Then I travel back to the left, go under one of the wraparounds, and travel back to the right side. Then again, under one of the wraparounds, and back to the left side. Under one of the wraparounds, like this, and finally I usually try to get to the point where I started my snaking. Here I go through my rope again, just to secure my snaking, like this, and at this point you finish by either tucking your thread under the whipping, like this, or what you can do first is tie a couple of overhand knots and then tuck your thread under the whipping. By tying a few overhand knots, you further secure the thread and prevent it from slipping from under the whipping. So let's say 2 overhand knots, and then tuck your thread under and pull in the overhand knots just to secure the snaking. At this point, trim the end and your snaking is complete. The next style of snaking is the half-hitched version. Again, we start off traveling through our rope, then traveling over our whipping, under one of the wrapping turns, and over the thread that we're using. This is going to create a half hitch, like this. Then pass to the other side, again travel under one of the wrapping turns, and over the thread that I'm using, like this. Then on the left side, under one of the wrapping turns, and over the thread that I'm using. Like this. And again to the other side, under one of the wrapping turns, and over the thread. And to the other side, under one of the wrapping turns, and over the thread. Now usually I again try to target the point where I started my snaking. Now to keep this consistent hitched look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel under this starting strand, wrap around it, and go under it again, just to get this round look. Then what I'm going to do is travel through my rope to secure my thread. And at this point, what you can do is either work your thread under the whipping or secure it using a couple of overhand knots. Again, if possible, you can run the overhand knots under the whipping in order to tug them out of sight. And this secures the half-hitched version of a snaking. A slightly modified version of the half-hitch snaking can be done by adding another turn. So we start off the same way, traveling to the left side, going under one of the wrapping turns, like this. Repeat the same process, going under one of the wrapping turns. And this is the modified version. So 2 wraparounds. Travel to the right side and do the same thing. So travel under one of the threads, and under again, then to the left side. We go under the thread 2 times, we also know a cowhitch version, which is quite decorative, but also a bit tricky. So again we start traveling through our rope to the left side, pass under one of the strands, just like in the half hitch. Then pass over the thread that you're using, and pass under one of the strands from the right side towards the left, like this. finally travel through this bite that you just created. And this is a cow hitch pattern. Pass to the right side, again under one of the strands, then over the strand that you used, under the strand from left to right, and finally through this bite that you just created. And this is the cow hitch. So again, over to the left side, under a strand, over the strand that you're using, then under one of the strands from right to left, which creates a bite, and finally you travel through the bite. Travel to the right side, under one of the strands, then over the strand that you're using, under one of the strands from left to right, which creates a bite, and through the bite. Travel to the left side, like this, under one of the strands, over that strand, under one of the strands, this time from right to left, which is going to create a bite, and finally through the bite. As always, I try to aim to finish up where I started my snaking. Here we need to improvise a little bit. So what I'm going to do is travel to the right side, go under one of the strands, like this, then back over the strand, and under one of the strands, this time from left to right, which creates a bite. Finally travel through the bite, like this. And this is another cow hitch. Now what I do is I travel through my rope, to the other side, like this. And here you would finish again by either tucking under the whipping or tying a couple of overhand knots and then tucking the end under the whipping if possible. So 2 overhand knots and a tuck under the whipping. And with this you have a cow-hitched version of a snaking. And finally, the last snaking that I'm going to demonstrate, the reversed cow hitch snaking. Travel to the left side, under one of the strands. Pass under the strand that you're using, like this. Then, from left to right, under the strand on the left, and over this part here. Then tighten up a bit, and you have a reversed cow hitch. Travel to the right side, again traveling under the last of the turns. Then under the strand that you're using, like this. Then under the last strand on the right side, and over this part. Tighten up a bit, and you have another reversed cow hitch. Let's do one more and then finish it up. So travel to the left side, going under one of the strands. Then go under the strand that you're using, under the strand from left to right, and over this part. And again, we have tied a reversed cow hitch. So guys, I hope that this video will come in handy. It was quite a task for me to demonstrate all of these snakings. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you next time.